Hello everyone and welcome to Canadian Redneck Channel. My name's Dave and today we have a Farmall Cub here with an unexplained noise in the transmission rear end area. So we're going to do some diagnosing to see if we can find out where the problem is and fix it. So I will get the camera set up so you can see what we're doing, and we're going to start off by jacking up the hind tires one at a time and see if we can kind of figure out where the noise is coming from. So if the tractor jacked up and it's in neutral, I'll roll the wheel and see if I can hear where the noise is coming from. Like that, the sound can kind of travel, like, you know, carry, and it's hard to pinpoint, but it sounds to me like in the transmission, which is kind of what I figured. So we'll take the transmission cover off so we can see inside and see if we can identify where the problem is. I also noticed when you're rolling the wheel, there's kind of a hitch in a spot or two, which sounds to me like a broken tooth in a gear maybe. So from checking in the transmission, everything looks clean in there. It's another one of those cases of the noise traveling through the metal, so it's really hard to isolate. I think it's in the rear end here. That hitch, I'm guessing, probably is a bad tooth on the crown gear possibly. But I guess we'll know more about it when we get this plate off the back of the rear end here. I've drained the gear oil, and now we'll start getting these pieces out so we can see what's in there. I found that this spider gear for the left-hand axle shaft is loose on the splines and wobbly. I think that might put it out of clock, make the teeth clack together, which is what is making our noise. So to eliminate anything else, I've put the transmission in gear and jacked up both tires so that none of the other shafts are moving. It's just these spider gears and shafts here. And the noise is gone. Yeah, no, that's not the problem then. So putting the transmission in gear eliminated the noise, so that basically eliminates all the back end. It basically has to be the bottom shaft of the transmission. So we will have to take off the final drives on both sides, seat, footboard, and unbolt the transmission from the torque tube. Since we're taking the hind tires off and everything is going to be unstable, it just sits on one pin on the front axle to be floppy. You want to wedge the front axle so it doesn't flop over on you, because that'd be inconvenient. We're going to get down in the bottom of this transmission, so we'll start by taking out the rails and shift forks, top shaft. Then we'll have to take the differential out the back so we can get to the bottom shaft. These bolts go into a ridge in the rails, so you have to take the bolt right out in order to move the rail. And if you turn the rail about 90 degrees or so, that kind of helps get it out of the detent. And from there you can wiggle it out the front of the case. Now, you don't want to pull that all the way out or the detent will pop out and go flying. I mean, you can hold your hand over the hole, but you don't really need the rail all the way out. You can just bring it to the front, it'll hold the detent in place, and you can lift the forks out. 3 bolts on this retainer, and the front shaft, the top shaft will come out. And now the shaft should pull right out. I'll get that. There we are. It appears like it's going to take a little tap from the back side because there's some gunk in there, I think. You can see my granddaughter Aurora there. She's helping today. Super helpful, you can see.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we just give that a little tap. Tap. There we are.
Hello.
Let's go. And we can take this out, set these gears aside, and the shaft aside. I find it helpful to set the parts aside in the order that they come out, and that way it's all in a row. When you go to put back together, it's a lot easier to figure out. So now, these seal retainers on the side and bearing retainers have to come out. Now that one is tucked up inside there. I should be able to just give it a little tap out from the other side. I think. Yeah, it's coming. There we are. Let's see. When you turn the differential so you can see the spider gears, there's a little pry notch here for the bearing that we should be able to get this punch behind and tap it off of there. So now we can finesse this differential out of the case here. Maybe. These are there. Can be tricky. So when you spin the shaft over quickly, you can still hear the noise, and it still has that hitch in it, that fetch up. I think it is having to do with how it meshes with the reverse idler gear. So I'm going to take that out and see what that does for us. And that'll narrow it down to one of two gears anyway. So the reverse idler gear has a retaining bolt through the shaft. So we take that retaining bolt out, and then we'll have to push the shaft forward from the back end of the case. Pushes easily towards the front, and you can fish the gear out. So now we'll spin this again. Yeah, not a bit of noise. So it's definitely having to do with how that's two gear mesh. Taking out the reverse gear eliminated the noise, so I have another reverse gear here that we'll put in and try in its place, and that'll tell us if it was the reverse gear or the gear on the bottom shaft that it meshes with, or perhaps it's both. Now we'll give this a roll and see what we got. We still have that noise. Well, that eliminated that hitch in it where it bound up, but it still has quite a lot of noise when they mesh, so I am going to change the bottom gear too. So I'm going to take this front bearing retainer out so we've got room to put the little spacers and stuff in there. Good. I found another one of those, and I found another one of these bottom gears that meshes with the reverse idler. And we'll see if we can get her to quiet down now. it's time to put the PTO shaft in. If you take the oil fill plug out of the transmission, you can actually see down in to where that goes. Well, that's got the job done. We got her all sewed back together, and everything seems to be good. Hope you enjoyed our video on repairing a Cub transmission. Any questions or comments, you can leave that in the comment section below. Please give the video a like, subscribe to my channel, and as always, have a great day.